Hey everybody, I hope y'all are having an amazing day today. My name is Mercer and welcome back to another one of my Death Battle review videos where I'm going to be talking about what I think I want for the next season of Death Battle, that being Season 8. Before I start this list, I'm going to have to go over a couple ground rules. One will be no same series fights, so don't expect Yamcha versus Chen versus Krillin on this list, no matter how much I want it. My second rule is going to be no Marvel DC fights or Marvel DC characters. It was fun this season, but they use it in abundance, so next season I do want to stay away from it. I won't mind if they use just once in a while Marvel DC characters, because it is legacy to use them. And my third and final rule will be no rematches, so no Link versus Cloud will ever be included on here. But I do consider my last pick inferior to the others, so why not jump already in? And since we're basically already in there. My last pick is considered inferior to the others, but I do like it anyway. And since we just had Todoroki versus Zuko, why not have Phoenix King Ozai versus the number one, number two hero himself, Endeavor? This fight is considered inferior just because of how repetitive it is since Zuko versus Todoroki already came out. For one, I am still going to do an analysis on this fight just like I did for, all the other ones on this list. But it is pretty cool. Starting off, we have Fire Lord Ozai. He, of course, has his fire bending, which is remarkable considering he's the Fire Lord. He, of course, has plenty of different moves, including the ability to fly out of his hands while shooting fire, and the ability to go toe-to-toe with people as powerful as Aang. He can shoot lightning bolts, and did not study the redirection technique, though. Ozai did, on the other hand, study numerous different forms of combat, being the general that he is, and has tons of different experience. He's fought numerous Agni Kais, and he's even fought against fellow Fire Lord Zuko. So, what does Endeavor bring to the table? Well, why not see? Endeavor brings his Hellflame quirk, a powerful quirk that's second to only One for All in terms of, raw power. This Hellflame quirk allows him to shoot out fire, shoot fire lances, fly even, and boost his fire to blue fire, which can become much more hotter than everyday normal orange fire. He can also use his signature technique, Flash Fire, which allows him to heat up incredible objects and basically burning them to a crisp. His fire is immensely strong, able to annihilate buildings even, and go to toe-to-toe with no moves. So I do think that Endeavor's Hellflame quirk is stronger than Ozai's Firebending, because what Ozai could pull off with Sozin's Comet, a powerful enhancement that only happens, a very long time distance for the Firebenders, Endeavor could pull off on his own during his fight with Nomu. He can also scale to Nomu, who can scale to All Might, meaning he could likely be faster, even if Ozai can't react to lightning. He only shoots it. So I think Endeavor wins. My next fight? Why not be Arbiter versus the Predator? This fight may happen, and I'm very hopeful that it will. You see, the thing about this fight is that I already have done bounty hunters on my channel of Character War, those being Boba Fett and the Predator. But Arbiter versus Predator seems much more fitting than that. You see, think about it, they're both from a technical alien race that have proven to always be the bane to humankind's existence, and they just look cool. So, who do I think wins? Well, I'll give a further rundown. And I will not be using any enhancements that Arbiter has mentioned to have in Red vs. Blue, even though he's not mentioned at all, just the Halo games. Starting off, Predator has his camouflage suit, his invisibility, which he uses like a master, energy guns, numerous types of energy guns by the way, and numerous types of blades. These include his arm blades, shurikens, tons of different spears, his armor, and the ability to shoot out blades out of his hands, kind of like a wrist rocket. It's very cool. Starting off, Arbiter has his energy sword, which he uses like a boss, numerous different energy guns, some being long range and some being short range, and has also tons to mention numerous different visibility. This is what I meant by the enhancements in Red vs. Blue. Sorry if you guys were confused there. But in the end, Arbiter does have the invisibility and tons of different training from the Covenant. So, who wins this? Well, come to think of it, they are very evenly matched. Predator is definitely more brutal than Arbiter, but Arbiter is more strategically planned. It's very similar to something like Saberwolf versus John Talbane. So, who do I think wins though? Well, come to think of it, it was very hard for me to decide. Considering that Arbiter went toe-to-toe against super soldiers, while Predator went toe-to-toe against everyday skilled soldiers and still lost, I do think that Arbiter would win that fight. Moving on. Why not talk about anti-sort of heroes? Stain, hero killer Stain versus Billy Butcher from The Boys. This fight is pretty interesting, and I don't think it's going to happen this season, but I just couldn't help but mention it for how cool it is. It's a very interesting fight, and considering that they've already confessed to bring the boys into the show, why not? Billy Butcher has tons of different CIA training, a mastery in all firearms, and is great in close combat too. He has tons of different AR rifles, the ability to shoot out long-range sniper rifles, and though he doesn't have the same superpowers of the Seven, he is packed with quite tons of experience. Stain has numerous different blades, the ability to go toe-to-toe with people as fast as Ingenium 2 and Deku. He can also keep up with people and use his quirk to control them, that being Blood Curd. Blood Curd allows him to lick the blood of someone, tasting it and immobilizing them. However, it does have a knockback for the blood type, so Billy Butcher could use that to his advantage. So, what happens between these two, and who do I think wins? Well, it was difficult for me to decide, as Billy Butcher is great with long range, but considering that Stain kept up with people as fast as Ingenium and Deku, I would have to give the win to Stain. He just has tons more experience and is much more merciless than Billy Butcher. Next fight, Diva versus Tronbon. This one is pretty interesting. It was a DBX for a while, and I was very impressed by what they did with it. And it's honestly one of my most favorite DBXs as of late. But I think what really brings out this fight is that it's a mech fight, which we haven't seen much since Edman vs. Wily. Starting off with Diva, what advantages does she have exactly? Well, she does have her energy gun, which shoots out tons of different shots, and her mech, which is extremely powerful, allowing her to go toe-to-toe with some of the heaviest Overwatch characters. This thing has dual shotgun-like cannon modes, powerful energy missiles, which launch out and spew out, kind of, the ability to go incredible jet fire sequences, the ability to knock out energy shots before they come in using her defensive selection, and of course her self-destruct, which can take out numerous heroes and even take out the armor of people as tough as Pharah or Reinhardt. That armor is incredibly thick-coated, by the way, and is almost extremely heavy. As you can see from this point right here, she's taken out numerous different groups. Tronbon, on the other hand, has many different things, quite different from Diva's. She does have, of course, her multiple little figures coming in different sizes, which allow and provide her defense. But her mech, on the other hand, is incredibly powerful. In the Mega Man games, this thing is stated to be extremely powerful and able to go toe-to-toe with someone as tough as Mega Man. It has jet-powered fist, machine gun, the ability to launch itself upward, ability to Shoryuken uppercut, and the ability to rocket its fist with that while coming back. It's immensely tough. So, who do I think wins? Starting off when it comes to experience, I do think that Diva rocks it. She had tons more experience being an esports champion and a powerful fighter for the military back in her hometown. And while I say Tronbon is powerful in her own right, it still does not prove to the same right of someone like Diva. So, in the end, I do think that Diva pulls her victory, especially with that self-destruct. It's much more powerful than Tronbon's. Moving on, why not go on with Kid Goku, or Goku from the Dragon Ball series, versus Gon. I've already expressed my insane love for Hunter x Hunter on my channel before, or in my top 10 one series wanted death battle list. And I've honestly really liked the DBX for this too. It's pronounced Gon, not Gone. Moving forward, let's see what Gon has in his favor. He, of course, has his Kin, or rock, paper, scissors, nin technique, which allows him to control paper, a powerful energy blast, and, of course, rock. Rock allows him to create a giant fist, which he can use for a massive punch. It can even go toe-to-toe with people as tough as Chimera ants. Scissors is a bit different. It's a numerous giant blade that's able to cut through almost anything. And he has a super form, Adult Gon, which basically symbolizes his training throughout constant years. This allowed him to go toe-to-toe with one of the more powerful nin users, Neferpito, the most amazing bodyguard, Royal Guard Chimera ant. This thing enhances all of his abilities, including his Ken. The Ken can level a mountain in base form. So, what does Kid Goku have on this? Well, he has his martial arts training with Krillin and Master Roshi, his power pole, which it can extend in any direction and goes any way that he wants, and the ability to control his ki. a spiritual energy of sorts like Gon's Nen. This allows him to perform the technique the Kamehameha and numerous energy beams. And his Great Ape form. Great Ape Goku has tons of different powers, including enhancing all of his key energy and power. So, who wins between the two of them? Well, for starters, even if we gave Goku his Great Ape form and Gon his Adult Gon form, a Great Ape form have been proven to level planets before, not just by themselves, but level entire mountain ranges, while Adult Gon doesn't go near that level of power. So I do think that Kid Goku wins, no matter how much I love Gon. Moving on, one of my more favorite fights, Joker versus Gyorno Giovanna, or Akira Kurusa. His manga name, by the way. His anime name is Ren. So, who wins this fight? Well, let's review the analysis, since it's actually a very cool fight in my opinion. And I love Joker from Persona 5. Played the games, read the manga, and seen the anime. He has a defensive shell, which allows him to take and repel damage, and numerous different personas, as well as the ability to fight on his own, not just with a persona, like with his dagger, pistol, and grappling hook, which he's a master with. He's a master with stealth and the ability to control the energy in his multiple personas, not just one. He has a signature one, Arsene, who has pyrokinetic powers, and the ability to turn him completely invisible and fly, and to use razor-sharp claws. And, not to mention, Akira, or Joker, is a master thief. He's even led the supposed Phantom Thieves, right, with Skull, Panther, Morgana, and tons of other members. He has numerous different other personas and has multiple. I could even go Arcana, Lucifer, White Rider, tons more. But his most powerful version is basically a god killer called Sataniel. Pardon me if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I have read it. I don't know how it's correctly pronounced. But anyway, Sataniel is a master god killer. It's extremely powerful. However, it does waste a lot of Ren's energy. But it still is crazy powerful. So what does Gyorno have on this? Well, he has, of course, his stand, that being Gold Requiem. Gold Requiem is one of the most powerful stands. As you can see from different footages, Gold Requiem has the ability to liquefy itself, completely regenerate, and has superhuman strength and speed, leveling Star Platinum even. And Gyorno is a master controlling Gold Requiem in battle. It's dedicated to protecting Gyorno. It's a stand-leveling stand. Can you believe that? It's crazy tough. So, who wins this fight? Well, for starters, a lot of people would debate that Gyorno would be the winner for having a much more powerful stand. And while I do agree that Gold Requiem is more powerful than someone like Arsene, it just doesn't stop the fact that Joker's personas definitely give him the win. They've allowed him to beat incredibly tough foes, like, Cognition champs like Master Madarame, of which is a master artist who can slow down foes, and of course the god-level characters in the Persona 5 Royal games, so Sataniel definitely helps with his win. I think Joker probably wins this fight. Moving on, Pichu, the electric mouse Pokemon, versus Denkei Kaminari. I know, 3 My Hero Academia characters, but you can't help say it's good, and we only had 2 in the entire Death Battle series. Starting off, Kaminari has the ability to control electrification. This allows him to shoot out numerous different electric bolts through his different abilities and arsenal, including his disc thrower, which can conduct as electricity. This allows him to use a powerful amount of electricity on his, ability. Even though if the electricity does provide him a flaw, the main flaw is that it does allow him to get knocked out through using too much, like 1.3 million volts. You see, the thing about it is that it short-terms his memory, so he doesn't really have much in the slot for electricity. Or not short-terms his memory, short-terms like his brain, kind of. Pichu, on the other hand, has numerous different quick attacks, including Headbutt, and the ability to use electrical attacks like the predecessors Pikachu and Raichu. He has Quick Attack, which allows him to use extremely fast moves, Thunderbolt, Thunder Shock, Fake Out, which is a normal technique, has Reversal, Fighting Technique, and Nasty Plot. It's extremely weak and does take recoil damage through his electricity. But who do I think wins? I think the odds is that it's more likely that Pichu would pull out a win than Denkei Kaminari. Kaminari is tough though and has taken on multiple villains, but at the cost of his brain power. Pichu has much more control over the electricity than Kaminari does. Not to mention much more power as it is. So, moving on, I'm going to go into one of my favorite fights on this list, and I'm not picking favorites just because Ridley versus Rayquaza is just awesome. We have two space dragons. What could possibly be cooler than that? I mean, space dragons are freaking rad, and yeah, dragons are cool, and we already saw Dragonzord vs. Mechagodzilla, but this one's cooler. Starting off with Ridley, he of course has his plasma breath, which allows him to shoot out bolting fireballs. His drill tail, which allows him to basically just drill into an opponent. Has shadow techniques, which allow him to use his claws and wings as shadow-like firebolts. His plasma breath can shoot out a massive beam of energy capable of leveling Samus Aran's ship and numerous different mountain plains and planets. And of course, his quick-like armor scale in his super form, Omega Ridley. Omega Ridley takes tons of damage without going down. It can harden its skin while he can do that base form anyway. So he can to be as tough as Diamond. What does Rayquaza have on this? Well, he did fight Deoxys, who fought Mewtwo, and Mewtwo we've already seen can level incredible amounts of fields. Rayquaza also has tons of different techniques like Whirlwind or Outrage, like his dragon moves. He has Dragon Beam, Ice Beam, Fire Beam, the classics, and Hyper Beam, his most powerful move, which is a massive beam of energy capable of elevating powerful meteorites. Right. He also has different flying moves, Outrage, Rage, Extreme Speed, Dragon Dance, which increases all of his attack levels, and tons of different techniques. This is probably one of the more closer fights on my list, and I could go into a bunch of different reasons why. And it's probably the largest, in my opinion, of just scaling the couple of fights. Right? Let me see, yeah, probably. But this fight is crazy cool, and I do think that Ridley wins by a tiny margin for having better speed, defense, and just more experience being a space captain. My next one? John Wick versus Hitman 47. This is more of an agent battle, and as a fan of all the John Wick movies and Hitman 47 games, I could definitely say that this fight is cool, to say the least. So, who wins? Well, let's get into it. John Wick, of course, Hitman 47, of course, has tons of different training in silent assassination, gunplay, martial arts, and, of course, is master of the quick draw. He wields two wielding guns, which allow him to shoot at remarkable rates, piano wire, which allows him to take on opponents head-to-head, and silent assassination blades, which allow him to kind of gut an opponent. This piano wire he uses to strangle people, and he has tons of different MMA training and the ability to disguise inside, which I feel like would make a remarkable look for the animation style. Moving forward, what does John Wick have on this? Well, he simply has combat training and the amazing luck. He's a master knife thrower, master mixed martial artist, and has killed men with a pencil. He's mastered in gunplay, judo, horseback riding, and mastery in all forms of combat. So I do think that Hitman 47 has the advantage in silent assassination and likely more advanced skills. He's much more deadly thanks to being a genetically breed assassin, unlike John Wick, who just normally goes by with pure inescapable luck, skill, and willpower. So I do think that John Wick, on the other hand, has the advantage in experience. Even if they're technically both tied, John Wick did kill a man with a pencil. I mean, that's cool, right? Right? I mean, what could possibly be cooler than that? Not much 47 can do on that, but I do think that 47 still takes this. He's had much more genetic experience in the fight than John Wick has. So, before I get to my number one pick, I might as well mention a couple honorable mentions. Piccolo versus Martian Manhunter almost made it on the list, but just for the sake of not having any Marvel DC characters. Still a good fight. Sasuke Uchiha versus Riku. It's cool and all, but I just didn't want to bring in Sasuke because he's already been on there. But still, it's cool. Yang Xiaolan versus Katsuki Bakugo. Very cool, and I really like the DBX. Madara versus Aizen. You know this is bound to happen some of these days, and I really like it. Madara for the win, even though Aizen may pull out a victory. Dexter versus Jimmy Neutron. It's fun and interesting and very cool. And one of my personal favorites, Incineroar versus King. Just a cool catfight, kind of. And it's just got a fun ring to it. Fun. Cell versus Dark Samus. Genetically bred people. It's very cool. I think that Cell would likely win the fight, though. And Dr. Zomboss versus Dr. Neo Cortex. It's a very cool fight, in my opinion. So, when searching the internet, I needed to find a proper fight. A fight that I could be happy with. Neocortex versus Dr. Zomboss? Nah. King versus Incineroar? Nah. How about Piranha Plant versus Chomper? This fight is definitely absurd to say the least, and I know, it's not very interesting, but still, it's just so cool. I love both characters so much. Not only does it bring in an obscure Mario character, it brings in an obscure series, that being Plants vs. Zombies. So, what does Piranha Plant have? He, of course, has his fire abilities, allowing him to shoot out fire, ability to hover with his leaves at the bottom base of the plant, kind of, and his jaws, being, Piranha Plant. He can spit out acid, which is very cool, blinding and taking damage on the opponent. He can fight with his leafed blades and can use them as razor-like attacks. Can turn his head into a giant spiky ball, can shoot out a spiky ball, and can fly. So what does Chomper have on this? He has his tail, powerful bite force, and numerous different techniques, including the ability to dig through solid stone and steel. He has his fire breath form and numerous different other forms we'll get into. His metal form, ability to blind opponents with his spit, the ability to plant vine traps. He has his fire form, ice form, metal form, and his Count Chompula form, all of which he incorporates in a powerful style with his bites. They don't make much of a difference, but they do enhance it, that being a fire bite, and just sound cooler. They do technically do the same damage, because EA's like that. Then who do I think wins? Well, I do think that Chomper has a stronger bite than Piranha Plant, and Piranha Plant definitely has more versatility with his flight. And that's what I really like about this fight. It's so unique and just out of character that when I first heard of it, I had to put it on this list. Even if it made something like top 10 or top 5, I just felt like it was that special to me. And if I saw it on Death Battle, I would really like it. I would really enjoy it. I do think that Chomper would be the victor here. The main reason is because of his more versatile weaponry. He does have the ability to go underneath the ground, and their arsenals are fairly matched. That being, they both have spitting, acid spits, its powerful bites, the ability to shoot fire out of their mouth, that being Chomper's fire form, and tons of different modes. So I do think that Chomper wins for just having more merciless control over his bite. He does take recoil damage while eating, though. If he eats something too large, his mouth can get stuffed, kind of like everyone's favorite Nintendo Kirby. So yeah, in the end, Chomper for the win. But what did y'all think? Do you guys agree with my picks, or did you disagree? Let me know in the comments if you had any other picks for this video. Always be sure to follow me on Instagram at CharacterWar9, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, Season 8 was as good as a season as other seasons in the past. Season 7, on the other hand, is pretty good. I felt like there were a lot of good things. Anyway, I'll be seeing you guys later.